Good evening. If you are a first-time rising freshman parent, welcome to Lakewood High School. And I see there's a lot of familiar faces, so this is not your first rodeo with coming up to Lakewood High School. Tonight's meeting is really just to give an overview of the scheduling process for our 8th graders that they're going to start soon. I think actually they've already kind of started having conversations with students. Share some of the course offerings, the graduation requirements, and at the end have a chance for you to ask any questions that may be a concern or pop up during the presentation. So I will start with introducing myself. My name is Mark Walter. I am the principal of Lakewood High School. I'm also a graduate of Lakewood High School, so I've been here for like most of my life. And with us is Mrs. Bridget Furstenberger, who's the associate principal, and you'll hear from some of these folks later. Mrs. Lindy Schukert and Mrs. Megan Fox, who are our middle school counselors, and then Miss Nina Chant, who is our 9th grade counselor, so she'll be working directly with your students next year. And then Mrs. Martinek, who is also one of our counselors, and Mr. Sharavelli, who is the House 1 or freshman principal. So a lot of those folks over there you're either working with now or you'll be working a lot with next year. If there's some names up here, we have Lakewood High School is broken into houses. So we have house principals, not assistant principals necessarily, but Mr. Sharavelli handles the 9th grade students, and then when your child goes to 10th grade, they'll be assigned either Mrs. Voikin, who is House 2 principal, or Mr. Badat, who is the House 3 principal, based on their alphabet, and then also the guidance counselors for the remaining 3 years will be assigned at that time also. So, first thing is our course guide is now available. We made a pretty significant change this year. We went completely online. We found out that most of the kids, once they read the course guide and selected their classes, they threw them in the trash. Not only was it expensive, it was definitely not environmentally friendly, so we have gone to an all-online process. You can find it on our website. If you go to the Lakewood High School website and then go to the guidance section, you can see the 2022-23 course link. So at this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mrs. Fox and Mrs. Schukert, and they can tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening in the middle schools as they start this scheduling process for freshman year.
Is it on?
It's on.
Is this thing on? Wow, the last time I was up here was in 1986.
I'm just standing over here to read it.
Yeah, no. So we have a little bit different timelines because Lindy's at Harding and I'm at Garfield, but kind of the same. So we're both going to be presenting to the 8th graders within the next couple of weeks.
Do you want to just do separate?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to be presenting to the 8th graders. I'm going to be going into the social studies classes next Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I will start scheduling individually with the 8th graders next Thursday, and that'll take a couple of weeks. So they will hopefully come talk to you after they've met with or seen my presentation. And again, I will show them how to go onto the link to look at the course guide. And actually, it's going to be put, if Miss Street hasn't already put it in there, it's going to be in the 8th grade Google Classroom, the link to the course guide. And I will go over that with them, and hopefully they'll have the discussion with you before they meet with me individually to schedule. And then we'll start scheduling, and course verifications will be mailed home in the spring, and you'll look that over with them. And you'll have time then to make changes before they actually, the schedules actually come home in the summer for the fall.
Okay, and I'm Lindy Schukert. At Harding, we did all the classroom presentations yesterday and today. So got a lot of scheduling on the mind, lots of great conversations. If your kids haven't come home and talked about it, please, please, please encourage them to. I will be starting to meet with individuals starting on Tuesday. I have kids signing up for a 10-minute window to talk to me during one of their free periods. I'm recommending that they don't try to get out of some of their classes. I'm also inviting parents to attend via Zoom. I don't know if this will turn into a hot mess. It really might. But last year I was able to do parents and students because we were on that hybrid, and so we Zoomed all these meetings. So I'm trying something new this year. So it could either be a really successful thing or a huge disaster. We're gonna wait and see. I also, like Meg, I have a Google Classroom. I think I have all but 16 kids as of like 5 p.m. today that have signed up for it. Parents, if you're not sure how to do that, you can sign up for your kids' Google Classroom to receive alerts. I would highly encourage you, if you haven't done that, so that you're getting the same information. And like Meg, I have links for course guide, the presentations I gave to them, how to sign up for individual sessions and things like that. So we'll be scheduling like you for a couple weeks, and verifications go out in the spring, and we'll make changes and adjustments as needed.
Our phone numbers are up there. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll have Mr. Chant come up and just give you some tips for scheduling your students, especially if this is the first time you've gone through the process as a freshman parent.
Hi, everybody. So at this point, the students have put in all of their course requests with their middle school counselor. And like Mrs. Schuker and Mrs. Fox indicated, you will get the course request sheet. And I'd just like to let everybody know that that's another opportunity for you to look over the course requests. And that will not include lunches and study halls and miscellaneous type things. So just want you to have an idea that, and remember that at the high school level, there are 9 periods in the day. So when you're going through the course verification sheets, you can actually, I encourage students to actually kind of write out what their dream schedule would be, number 1, number 2, number 3. And that kind of really helps kids to get an idea of the flow of the classes and what they need to put into their schedule to keep it balanced. So what I would like to do is just give you some scheduling tips for after they get their schedules in the summer. The first thing that I want you to do is have the course catalog with you, because, well, maybe even before they get their schedules, when you get the course request sheets, a lot of times the scheduling process can go very quickly because we have to see so many kids in a short amount of time that they have their course request sheets and, oh, I want to take this and I want to take that, and oh, this sounds really great. And it's very exciting time for students to be able to pick the classes that they want to take. However, when they come here in the 9th grade year and they're into their 2nd and 3rd week, a lot of times freshmen start coming to me saying, well, I really want to drop this class because I didn't really know what it was about and it's not a good fit for me, and it may not be. Or my schedule is just too full and I can't take this class and I don't like it, or I think there's going to be too much homework. So I could go on and on about the reasons. We want to minimize the amount of schedule changes that we have at the beginning of the year because it really stresses kids out to get their schedules changed, and it's disruptive to the whole process of starting on a good foot in high school. So please read the course descriptions with your child, especially the 9th grade electives. Intro to Programming, Human Rights, any of the art classes, any of the electives that they can take. Just have an idea of what it is all about so that they're not surprised when they get into the classes and they're like, oh gosh, this is not a good fit for me. The course guide is, I use it every single day, and I've been doing this job for 10 years. I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't look at the course guide for something I may not have remembered off the top of my head. The other thing that I see generally with 9th graders is their excitement to come to the high school. is wonderful, and they want to take everything. They want to really just have that experience of diving in, and a lot of students still think that if I take everything my freshman and sophomore year, I can cruise my junior and senior year, but it doesn't really work that way anymore. So we want to have the students balance their schedule to have time to have downtime. So what that means is minimally at the 9th grade level, they need to have a lunch period. And believe me, I have many 9th graders who say, I don't want to have a lunch. We want them to have a lunch. Whether they eat lunch or read a book, that's up to them, but they need to have a lunch. And then secondly, I encourage every 9th grader, at least for the first semester, to have a study hall. Why? Because it gives them 40 minutes to decompress, get themselves organized, think about what they need to take home, look at their planners, look at progress book, just have an idea of where they are during the day. If your student does not want a study hall at all, I'm not going to force them to have one. It's just, I'm telling you the trends that I see as a 9th grade counselor. It's very helpful to have breaks during the day. The other thing that I would say is to pay close attention to the prerequisites needed for specific courses. A lot of 9th grade students coming into the high school want to take a foreign language. And the foreign language teachers are suggesting and recommending that students have at least a B average in their English class in order to take a foreign language. And they have just seen that students that have a B or higher in English tend to do better as a freshman taking a foreign language. So that's just one example. There are many others, specifically with science and math prerequisites. And if you ever have any questions about any of the prerequisites, you can always email me and I can walk you through that. And then number 4 is to understand the implications of taking advanced level classes. This is a big one for 9th graders because it goes back to the whole idea of finding balance. So if a student is coming into 9th grade and they haven't taken any advanced level classes in 8th grade and they want to take 2 or 3 advanced level classes at the high school level their first year, I don't recommend that. You know your student the best, but some of the most capable, high-achieving students that start out with 3 advanced level classes are struggling and having a lot of stress and anxiety because the advanced level classes, there are higher expectations from the teachers, there's more homework, and it just really doesn't give them a lot of time to dig in deep with one advanced level class. They're kind of skimming over all of them. So we want the freshmen basically to get their feet wet, get their confidence up, get into a routine, because with high school comes extracurriculars, maybe more home responsibilities. Some kids have jobs. So we, some kids are in sports. So we really want them to find balance in their schedules and not be overwhelmed their first year in high school. And then finally, if you do not plan to participate in marching band or sport, you will need 2 semesters of physical education. So encourage your student to be in a sport if they're not already. That includes bowling. And I have these conversations with freshmen every single year, but I don't want to take physical education. Well, you do have the option of taking it over the summer. I do not recommend that students take physical education in their later years because it never turns out well. And that is a graduation requirement. So I just encourage them to get that done, and then they can look forward to taking higher level electives their sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I think that is about it. So if you have any questions for me down the line, feel free to call or email me, and I can walk you through anything that you may have questions about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chant. And just to reiterate what she said about taking advanced classes, there's only a few in the freshman year that students can take, but the opportunities become greater, and we'll talk a little bit about AP and CCP courses a little bit later in the presentation. But I see some just fabulous kids that are high achievers and hard workers, and they overextend themselves. We encourage them to take higher level classes, but as Mr. Chant said, finding a balance is really important, especially when you're active in athletics or music or theater, or you have a job, and it's just, we want them to be educated to the highest level, but we also want them to be healthy. So just keep that in mind all 4 years when your child is scheduling. So here comes the fun part. This is the graduation requirements, and Mrs. Furstenberger and I were talking just before this started. Next year, there'll be 3 different graduation pathways for 4 grade levels. And a lot of that is because the Ohio Department of Education has changed the graduation requirements, and the new ones are called the permanent graduation requirements. Forgive me if I'm a little skeptical that these are going to be permanent, but that's what they are for now, and that's what they're going to be for your student. So the first part is they have to show competency on a couple end-of-course exams. They call them air tests in middle school. The good thing is they've really reduced the emphasis on standardized testing. So the only 2 that they must pass are Algebra 1 and English Language Arts 2. So they have to have some basic algebra and math skills, and they have to be proficient in reading and writing, which of course I think those are really valuable skills that they'll need no matter what they do. They need to earn 21.5 credits, and we'll show you the breakdown of what those look like. And then here's the super fun part. They have to earn 2 seals. So if you've had kids going through here before, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. So the graduation seals are different ways students can show that they're ready for the next part of their life, be it the workforce, be it the military, be it college, be it a trade school, whatever. They have to show at least in 2 ways that they're ready. And each one of these is a little different. There's Ohio Means Jobs, and that really is an involved process with finding mentors in the workplace and shadowing and things. I was talking to a parent earlier, and we don't have a lot of kids that do that, but it is available. By literacy is you have to be proficient in English and also in a foreign language. A industry recognized credential, that's actually can be earned through our West Shore programs, which kids can take starting in their junior years. Actually, they can start taking their freshman year, but the credential programs start in their junior year. A college ready seal, that's being remediation free on the SAT or the ACT. Military enlistment, citizenship seal, which is through our being proficient in U.S. history and government. Science is being proficient in the biology test. An honors diploma, which I'll show you those requirements in a minute. A technology seal, we have a couple of courses, one of them being West Shore, that can earn a student a seal in technology. And then the last 3 are locally defined seals. So these are seals that we as a district have developed. And one is a community service seal. So students that are actively engaged in community service can earn a graduation seal through that. The fine and performing arts seal, so students that are involved in the arts, both the performing arts and the fine arts, can earn a seal. And then the student engagement seal. So that's kids that are involved in our school community through clubs and activities and different school organizations. And in your handout, it gives a little bit more specifics about all those. So please make sure that you look through that. The only, let's see if it's on here. Yeah. Oops. The only caveat is they can only use one of the locally defined seals. They can use any of those, but they can only use one of these. One of the graduation seals has to come from the state defined seal. Super clear, right? It's a little hard to grasp, but they can't just get the community service seal and then the fine and performing arts seal and meet the requirements. Students can obtain more than 2 seals, but they have to at least get 2. This is the minimum course requirements to graduate. The biggest change for the next year's freshman class is that the state has added a financial literacy component. So they have to take a course in financial literacy. The honors diploma is basically there's a grade point average that you have to hit. There's ACT or SAT scores they have to hit, and then there's additional coursework they have to take to get that honors seal. Now, I'm not going to go very deep into this, but your students will be required to track the seals that they want to go after. So if they're really interested in the fine and performing arts, we have a system that they can upload their progress and their grades in to earn that seal. If they've passed the biology exam and they want to get the science seal, they can upload their test scores into our system and demonstrate that they've met the requirements for those different seals. It's pretty complicated. We will be showing the kids how to do it, so I just want you to be aware that that's how we're going to be tracking the seals. Again, they can go after all of them. I'm sure there'll be kids that try, but they don't have to. They only have to meet two of the requirements. So at this point, I will turn the microphone over to Mrs. Furstenberger. She'll talk about some of the credits and then get into some of the coursework that's available for freshmen, and then also sort of the tracks that they can take as they progress through high school.
Okay, so welcome everybody. We're super excited to have you here. Like Mr. Walter said, my name is Bridget Furstenberger, and I'm the associate principal here at the high school. I also work very closely with the school counseling department, so chances are you will see my name come across your email or your desk at some point throughout your student's high school career. The reason why we like to talk about grade level promotion at the high school is because it's a little bit different than what is done at the elementary school and the middle schools. So at the elementary school, you enter kindergarten at age 5, you turn 6, usually sometime throughout the school year or over that summer, you go to first grade. First grade, you're 6, you turn 7, you go to second grade. At the high school, we don't do social promotion. So a student is promoted to the next grade level based on the number of credits that they earn in a given school year. So freshmen, in order to move up to sophomore status, have to have completed a minimum of 5 credits. So let's say that your student comes in and earns 4.5 credits in their first year. They will stay at freshman status until they hit 5 credits. That's why we always encourage students when they are scheduling to, like Mr. Chance said, schedule a study hall, schedule a lunch, but then schedule at least 6 classes. Because then they're going to, if they take and pass those 6 classes, they'll end somewhere between 5 and 6 credits so that they can move on to sophomore status. Okay, so now we're going to go through some of the course offerings that we have here at the high school for 9th graders. And I will tell you, Lakewood is the 4th school district that I have worked for in my career. And this high school has one of the most comprehensive academic programs that you will find anywhere. So we have over 200 courses available at the high school. Now, given the content of some of those courses, we do have restrictions in terms of prerequisites and students' grade levels, but we do offer a lot. So as a 9th grader in art, I can pick from Art 1, Art and Focus, and Fiber Arts. And then you'll see in the presentation that as I move on to 10th grade, I have a few more options, again, into 11th and 12th grade, more options as well, that even includes some advanced placement courses. And as we go through the presentation, I'll have a little bit more information for you about our advanced placement and College Credit Plus courses that we offer. For English, the 2 options that 9th graders have to choose from is your General English 1 class and then your English 1 Advanced. Traditionally, students who will go into AP US History will also take English 1 Advanced. But I want to be clear, if your student is not interested in taking AP US History, it does not exclude them from taking English 1 Advanced. So they can still take English 1 Advanced, but not take AP, US history if that's, not something that they're interested in. We do offer English electives for ninth graders, so they can pick from drama, print and digital journalism, and broadcast journalism. And like Mr. Chant was saying earlier, we do have a lot of courses and students want to take everything. Read the course descriptions, because maybe a student decides in their freshman year they want to take broadcast journalism, but they're also interested in print and digital journalism. It doesn't mean that they have to take both of those in their freshman year. They can elect to take one in their freshman year and then maybe one in their junior year. In terms of English, there are summer reading assignments that students are expected to complete for our core classes, and those are posted on the district website. I know the presentation says June. We usually get them on there by Memorial Day, so towards the end of May, so that it gives students ample time to plan their time over the summer to complete the assignments. And then when they come back to school in the fall, they have different projects that they'll work on with their teachers that goes over their summer reading. So for math, there are lots of different options for students that are in ninth grade, and it will be what math they take is dependent on what they are currently taking as eighth graders right now. So if you've got a student who's taking a traditional Math 8 class right now, they will most likely go into Algebra 1, which is will build the foundation for the rest of their high school math career. In order to provide extra support for students who need it, because we all know math can be difficult, it's not everybody's favorite, it's not everybody's strong suit. We next year are going to be splitting up Algebra 1 over 2 years. So students in the ninth grade will take Algebra 1A, and we'll go through approximately the first 7 units of what a student in a traditional Algebra 1 course would see. And then in Algebra 1B, they're going to go over the remaining units and then spend a lot of time focusing on preparing for the end of course exam. As Mr. Walter mentioned, they have to achieve a competence score, at least a 684 on the Algebra 1 end of course exam. And so we obviously want everybody to graduate on time, and we know that some students are going to need some extra support to hit that 684. If you have a student who is taking Algebra 1 or geometry as an eighth grader, they will go into either geometry or advanced geometry as a ninth grader, and then either Algebra 2 with trig or advanced Algebra 2 with trig if they're currently in geometry. So a traditional high school math sequence would look something like Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2 with trig, and then a college algebra or a pre-calc, something along those lines. We do have performing arts courses for students. So ninth graders are eligible to take concert band, concert choir, Philharmonia Orchestra, and string orchestra. We also have some performing groups that meet outside of the school day, and that includes marching band, the Lakewood Project, jazz band, and jazz workshop. As Mr. Chant mentioned earlier, all students are required to have at least a half credit of physical education if they do not use a PE waiver. And I'll go over the PE waiver in detail in just a moment, but I want to let you know that if a student participates in marching band, they are eligible to receive a PE waiver. Okay. And you'll see more ensembles that are available to freshmen by audition only. And then we do have some courses that students can take in the Fine Arts Department that does not involve performances. And those are the class piano and survey of American music. For science, most ninth graders take physical science. However, we do have students who are currently taking an advanced science in the middle school or who have already decided, you know what, I'm interested in the science field and I want to do something like that in my career. And so we do allow freshmen to take biology and advanced biology. It's important to note that if your student is interested in taking advanced biology, they have to have completed Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. And the reason we do that is we want to set every student up for success that comes through our door. And we have found that students really struggle with the advanced biology if they're taking Algebra 1 concurrently with the advanced biology. And so for the incoming freshman class, in order to take advanced biology, students must have completed Algebra 1. Okay, and this is what a science track would look like. You may also remember when Mr. Walter was talking about the graduation seals. One way that students can earn a seal towards graduation is earning a proficient score on the end of course exam, which is given in biology. We also, in the science department, offer several AP classes and college credit plus classes as well. In history, students are required to have 3.5 credits for graduation. So in 9th grade, if students opt not to take AP US History, they will take World History. Our AP US History is a 2-year course that students start in their 9th grade year and finish in their 10th grade year. If a student elects to take AP US History 9, that fulfills their requirement for World History. So they do not have to take APUSH 9 and World History together. If they take AP US History 9, that fulfills the requirement. And then they do have an extensive list of semester electives that they can pick from. And there are some really cool courses that are not offered in every high school. Students can choose from pop culture, intro to Native American studies, street law. And they're really fun courses. For students with disabilities, the placement in their core classes is going to be determined by their IEP. They have an ETR evaluation team report in place as well. We do have a continuum of services here at the high school. So that's everything from being in a co-taught class or a supported class all the way to a multiple classroom for students with multiple disabilities. So we've got a very wide spectrum of services. For world language, we do offer 4 languages. So we have Chinese, French, German, and Spanish. Okay, these are college prep courses. And we do offer several courses where you can earn college credit as well as high school credit at the same time. The key to remember is that one of the prerequisites is that students have a B or better in their current English course, their core English course. If your student is interested in taking a language and maybe they're at a C+ average, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to your student's counselor to have a conversation. All right, so let's talk about the PE waiver. So like we said before, if you participate in marching band, you need to participate for 2 seasons and that will earn you a PE waiver. That earns your half credit of PE. So the things that will qualify for a PE waiver are any interscholastic athletic team that we have, marching band or cheerleading. Students then complete a waiver that can be obtained in the school counseling department or the athletic office, and then it is submitted to the athletic director. There are a couple of things that we always like to caution students on. Some sports do have cuts, and there are injuries or other planned situations that will arise, which is why we are so adamant that students, if they're not going to play a sport, take that PE credit in their freshman year so that it's complete. We don't want anybody to be held back from graduation because they've not completed their PE requirement. The other thing to keep in mind with this, and this is actually a state sanctioned waiver. The waiver does not allow you to mix and match. So we've had students say, well, I took first semester PE as a 9th grader, and now in the spring of my junior year, I'm gonna do track. That does not meet your PE requirement. So you either have to have 2 seasons of a sport, or marching band, or cheerleading, or take 2 semesters of PE. You are not allowed to mix and match. And that's per the Ohio Department of Education. In terms of athletic eligibility, students must pass 5 credits in the previous quarter to be eligible for the current season. This is really important for 8th graders. So right now we're about 3 or 4 weeks into the 3rd quarter. 4th quarter of a student's 8th grade year determines their athletic eligibility for fall of their freshman year. So if your student plans on playing football, when they enter the high school next year, they have to make sure that they're passing at least 5 classes in order to be eligible. So you've heard me mention throughout the presentation advanced placement, AP, or CCP, which is College Credit Plus. So those are both of two programs in which students at the high school level can earn not only high school credit, but college credit at the same time. There are several notable differences between the two. So for advanced placement, it is accepted by most private and public universities. Each college, though, makes the determination about what score a student must have on the AP test in order to get college credit. So the AP tests range in scores from 1 to 5. So one school might say, you have to have a 5 on that test in order for us to award you credit. Whereas another school might say, we require that you have a 3, okay? These, all of our advanced placement courses are offered on campus here at the high school. Next year, we will have 19 AP classes. There is an application required and then a cost associated with the exam that students take at the end of the course. In terms of College Credit Plus, these are courses that some are offered at Lakewood High School. Next year, we will have 16 of them offered on campus. They are accepted, these courses are accepted at any state university in the state of Ohio. And students have, as long as they meet the application requirements of the university that they're selecting, they're eligible to begin that program during their 7th grade year. If a student is interested in a CCP course that is not offered at Lakewood High School, they can go to Cleveland State, they can go to Tri-C, they can go to Lorain County Community College and take courses there. They must meet the college entrance requirements in order to gain admittance to that program. There is an intent to participate form that is due on April 1st. It's available on the school counseling department website if that is something your student is interested in. The Couple important things to keep in mind with this. It is graded on the same scale, the same weighted scale as AP classes, and students can take the CCP courses at no cost to them. If they drop a course or fail a course, the district may seek financial restitution, but as long as they pass the class, it's transcripted not only for high school, but college as well. And students have a lot of opportunity to earn college credit without even having to leave this building. So they still can have the traditional high school experience while also saving you a lot of money in the long run when it's time for them to go off to college if that's their chosen path. So this is just a list of the courses that will be offered in our AP program next year. The only one that freshmen are eligible to take is United States history. Like we said, that starts in the 9th grade year. But I encourage them to start looking over the course guide as they're thinking long term to see what other courses they might be interested in. This is a list of our CCP courses that are offered here on campus. Again, they're not limited to just these, but they can go off campus as well. All right, so I'm going to, at this point, turn the microphone back over to Mr. Walter, who's going to talk about some other awesome opportunities that students have at Lakewood High School.
So I hope your head is not spinning too much right now because we're throwing a lot of information at you. This presentation is going to be, it's being live streamed right now, and it also will have it up on the Lakewood YouTube channel. So if you want to replay it and so you can refresh your memory, certainly feel free to do so. So one of the things that's unique about Lakewood High School is we have a career tech program right here in our building. A lot of other schools, they send students out for their career tech programs. In fact, we partner with 3 other school districts whose kids come here. So you can be part of the West Shore programming, and that's opportunities will arise their junior and senior year. Actually, the sophomores are starting to learn about it right now. But we also have, as part of the Career Tech program, classes that are anybody can take. And so these are nice electives. They're fun. Some of them are just really good for life skills. So they can take child development, career seminar, which I think is now called Compass, which we recommend for freshmen to take because it really helps explore what they want to do as they get older. We get them logged on to Naviance. This is where they're going to keep all their materials that they're going to gather for college applications, for job applications. So we highly recommend it. We have fashion design, everyday cooking. We have experience with foods, which are fun and delicious classes. And we have some business electives, intro to computer programming, computer apps, digital media, exploring technology, which are the kids are far better at that than I'll ever be. So career tech is something, the programming is something that they can get involved with their junior year, but we have courses that sort of give them an introduction to some of them as early as their freshman year. So we just threw a lot of information in about 45 minutes at you. At this time, if you'd like to ask a question to the middle school counselor, freshman principal, freshman counselor, or Mrs. Furstenberger or myself, please, now is the time to do so.
Probably very specific to only a couple people, but if our kid is not in the middle school right now, who do I contact to get him scheduled?
Okay, so the question is, if the student is not currently a Lakewood City Schools student, what do I do to get my student enrolled and scheduled?
Well, actually, call Ms. DeChant, and she can help you. Yeah, if your student's not at Harding or Garfield right now, absolutely, she'd be happy to help you.
No question is stupid.
A lot about credit. Is generally a credit a year?
That's a good question. So the question is, we talk a lot about credits. So how do I earn that credit? And well, what is a credit? Is it a year-long class? Is it a semester class? So traditionally, if a class is 1 year, it's 1 credit. If it's a semester class, it's a half credit, with the exception of PE. So a semester of PE is worth 0.25 credits, so a quarter credit. So the 2 semesters of PE make that half credit. And if you, as you're looking through the course guide, part of the course description is how much credit is offered for that course. So if I'm interested in Spanish 1 and I'm looking at Spanish 1 in the course guide, you will see that it is worth 1 credit and it's a full year-long course. So the question is, we talk study halls and lunches. How do the lunches work? Is it a full lunch period? Is it, I'm in lunch for half the period, study hall for half the period? So the way that it works at the high school is we run a 9-period day. Each period is 40 minutes. So if I have 6th period lunch, I'm in 6th period lunch for 40 minutes, which can seem like a long time. But we open up the gym so that when students are done eating, they can go play basketball. They're welcome to go to the library. If they need to schedule an appointment with their counselor, they can do that. So yes, they are in lunch for 40 minutes.
High school kids can sit for 40 minutes without wanting to run around and hit each other. So, I lived in the middle school for a long, long time, and that's the first thing I noticed. Wow, high school kids can sit for 40 minutes.
Yep.
Question is, when do they start earning their seals? Actually, we had a conversation about that. Actually, once they graduate from 8th grade, so if they're doing community service over the summer of their freshman year, they can start counting that. And as long as they keep track of where they did it and who they did volunteer work. So I know a lot of kids do H2O over the summer and things like that. So they can start earning that over the summer.
Another question that we had over here was in regards to the weighted grades. So at the high school, the advanced placement and CCP courses are weighted on a 5-point scale. Everything else is on a 4-point scale. One thing that I would recommend that you, at some point, it doesn't have to be right this second, have a conversation with your student about is, at Lakewood High School, we no longer rank students. So beginning with the class of 2022, there's no such thing as I'm the valedictorian anymore because we have no class rank. We are moving towards a Latin honor system for recognition at commencement, and all of that is listed in the course guide.
The course guide, it's online. I can go back. It was one of the earlier slides. If you go to the Lakewood High School website, I missed it. And you go on the school counseling link, there's a course guide link and it's all there.
With the course guide, like Mr. Walter mentioned, we did move to an online format this year. That being said, we know that everybody learns differently. Some people can't necessarily absorb everything they need to in a website. There is a version, it's the very last link on the left-hand side where you can physically print out a copy if that is something that suits your needs better.
Any other questions? Let's see one way. Yeah, so the question is if they're taking a world language this year, do they go into the language 2 next year? And the answer is yes, as long as they were successful and the teacher recommends them to do so. Okay, so 7 periods would mean they have a lab. So the way it works is one semester they have 5 days a week, and then either the preceding or the following period, it's Monday and Wednesday the first semester, and that's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday the second semester. So they end up with those 7 periods a week would indicate a lab, that they have a lab, and that's mostly science classes and some of the advanced math classes. Did you have a question? So actually, it's a question more for the middle school counselor. Question is, if a child is interested in CCP, will you review the process with them? Yeah, and I tell you, it is amazing what kids leave here with as far as college credits. We just ran into a young man who graduated in the summer, and he's already halfway through his 4-year degree because he took so many college credits in high school. And for the parents out there, that's a lot of money. Any other questions?
Okay, so the question is, as a freshman, we don't have to know right this second if we are ready for CCP. The answer is no. So if you, want to come into the high school and just do a traditional 9th grade schedule, absolutely. But then maybe if you decide by junior year, you know what, I think I'm ready for this, you can try at that point as well. So anytime between the 7th grade and 12th grade year. And we recommend making sure too that the student is ready to be a college student, because that's what they're classified at by the university is a college student. And you want to make sure that the content that they're learning is appropriate for their age level.
Yeah, I had a question about the fee for the AP exams. The fee is what College Board charges to take the exam. So College Board is the entity that is in charge of AP, and they charge us to give the exam. Correct, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Seeing no more hands, I'd really appreciate everybody coming out in this cold night, and all the people that are at home, nice and warm. We appreciate you joining us on the live stream. Again, if you have questions that come up, please contact your middle school counselor, and if they need help answering it or something that we'd be better suited for, you can get a hold of us also. So thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to seeing all your rising freshmen at Fresh Start.